Hi guys, I am Uchakwa Aaron again with Maths XYZ, and today we'll be starting on a new chapter which is shapes and measurement. In shapes and measurement, we'll be dealing with surface areas of any shape and also the volume of any solid or an open shape that will be given to deal with. Alright, here in the chalkboard we have a shape of a right prism, of which this side we have a length, the height, and also the breadth of the prism. So the length here is 10 centimeter, the height is 5 centimeter, and the breadth of the shape is equals to 4 centimeter. So when we are dealing with surface area, you can always refer to your book to check how the equation of the surface area has been derived. But the equation of the surface area for a right prism is equals to 2bh, of which b stands for breadth and h stands for height, plus 2bl, of which b is for breadth and l is for the length, and again plus 2 nh, of which this is the length multiplied by the height. So this is the surface area of a right prism, and you should always know that the surface area has been derived by looking at the face of the shape, which is the top, the side, and also the bottom of the shape, and also the front and the back of the shape. So looking at those face of the right prism, that's where the surface area has been derived by combining and summing all of them to give us the equation of the surface area. You can always refer to your textbook to check how it has been derived. And then, having the surface area of the prism, the second thing that we must have is the volume of the prism. So the volume of the prism, just like any other volume, is when we look at the surface as the surface area of the base, which is the area of the base multiplied by the height that it has been extended with. So in this case, it will be length multiplied by breadth multiplied by h, of which h is the height that the right prism has been extended with, and the length multiplied by breadth is the area of the base of the prism. So now we have the surface area and we also have the prism, and after having this two, which is the surface area and the prism, we can now calculate the surface area of this right prism, and we can also calculate the volume of the prism. We are now given all the parameters that we need to calculate, that we need in order for us to have the answer for the two, which is the surface area and the volume. So let's start with the surface area, of which the surface area of a right prism, we know that is 2 multiplied by bh plus 2 multiplied by bl plus 2lh, of which l and h and b, we know that's the length, the breadth, and also the height of the right prism. So in this case here, we are given, let me just write all the parameters down, the given parameters, so that when we calculate it, it will be quite easy. Here we are given the breadth of this prism is equals to 4 centimeters, and the length of the prism is equals to 10 centimeters, and the height of the prism is equals to 5 centimeters. And now that we have to calculate the surface area of which SA stands for the surface area, it's equals to 2, so I will just open in brackets, 2 multiplied by B, which is the breadth, which is equals to 4, multiplied by H, which is the length, which is equals to 5. And then that plus, we know that everything here is in centimeters squared. So with, and then it's equals to plus B, which is equals to 4, and L, which is equals to 10. Alright, then we're left with 1, which is 2 multiplied by L, which is equals to 10, and we are also having 5 as our height of the prism. And then we know that when we are calculating the area, the SI unit of the area is equals to the SI unit of the given parameter squared. That means in this case we are given our parameters in centimeter. That means that our surface area will have a SI unit of centimeter squared. What if we are given this in meters? Then our SI unit for the area will be meters squared. The same with millimeter or any other SI unit that will be given to calculate the given as the length of this shape here. Then here we have 2 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 5, of which 4 multiplied by 5 we know that is 20, multiplied by 2, that means it will be 40. And then we know 4 multiplied by 10, that's 40, multiplied by 2 again there, it will be 80. And then 10 multiplied by 5, we know that's 50, multiplied by 2, that will give us 100. And after having that, we'll have 180 plus 40, which will give us a 220. Here we have 220, and our SI unit, which is one thing that we shouldn't forget to have, it's centimeters squared. And then the surface area of this prism here is equals to 220 centimeters squared then. All right, the first thing that you must always remember is to have your equation right. So the surface area of the right prism is equals to 2BH plus 2BL plus 2LH. Having known that, then you must always know which one from the right prism is your breadth and which one is your length and which one is your height. Then if you can get those right, then it will be easy for you to substitute it into the equation and then have your answer for the surface area. Then when we come to the volume of the prism, we know that that is the base area multiplied by the height which it has been extended with. So in this case, our volume for this bright prism is equals to length multiplied by breadth multiplied by height. And everything it has been given to us, which the length is 10 and the height is, the breadth I mean to say, it's 4 centimeters and the height is equals to 5 centimeters. And we know that the volume is also the capacity as well. Then the SI unit for the volume, we know in this case it will be centimeter cube. Then because we have been multiplied cm and multiply by cm again, which when we multiply that, we just have to add the exponent, which are one for each parameter, which will give us the centimeter cube. Then in this case, I'll just write here, we have the volume, which is equals to length multiplied by breadth multiplied by h, which is the height that it has been extended with. Then our length here is equals to 10, our breadth is equals to 4, and our height is equals to 5. And having that, we have 10 multiplied by 5, which is equals to 50, multiplied by 4, that will give us a 200. Then our answer in this case, it will be 200 cubic centimeter cube. Then this is the volume of this right prism. You must always remember that the equation of the shapes, they always change according whether the shape is open or whether the shape is solid or closed. And then also it also changes with in the case of which shape you have been given. For example, if it is a cylinder, of which we'll be dealing with in our next lesson, it will be different equation. And the same with if it's a prism or if it's a sphere. So it also differs with that. And if the shape has not been closed, or if it has been closed in one side, the equation also changes. So you should always take into consideration and read the question carefully if whether they're saying that it has been closed in both sides, which is solid, or it has been closed only on one side, or it has been open in both sides of that shape, which it will affect your equation that you will use to calculate the surface area or the volume of the whatever the shape that you will be given to answer. So in this case, we were given the prism of which both sides, the top and the bottom, has been closed. So if it was not closed, then this equation here, it was going to be changed. It will have been changed. It wouldn't be looking like that. So this one is it's for a solid shape of which the right prism has been closed in both sides, the top and the bottom, the top and the bottom, and also the left and the right side of the prism. That's why our equation is in full. But then if it was not closed, our equation would have been disturbed quite too much. Then we'll have maybe BL here, it would have been 1BL or something, depending on which side it has been opened. And also when we deal with the volume of the prism, you must always know which side of your shape is the height, because if you don't know that, then it will disturb also your equation of the volume. And always know that you can only use the surface area, I mean not the surface area, I mean to say you can only use the base area of the shape to calculate the volume, because the equation of the volume is the base area multiplied by height. Our L multiplied by B, this side, thus in this equation is equals to our base area. Then that is our base area multiplied by the height, of which is the height that it has been extended with. So in this case, we know that it was the surface area of the base area of this multiplied by this height, which it has been extended with. Also note that this is also the height, and also this is the height. This is the base, and that's the base. This is the length, and that's the length. So it has just been drawn in 3 dimensions so that you guys can look at it in a clear side or in a clear plane or section view. Alright, I hope you understood everything in this lesson. Please do tune in also in our next lesson, of which we'll be dealing with the surface area and also the volume of the cylinder, so that we can understand more in shape on how does it change when it comes to other shape, the surface area and the volume of those shapes. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and please don't forget to subscribe and also to share our videos with those that you know that they will need our lessons. All right, guys, thank you.